Hey fantasy fans, I'd like to welcome you to our Week 2 coverage of NFL Fantasy Football. And I'm your girlfriend's favorite sportscaster, Jamal 32, and this is my partner,
Mr. Robotone.
It was a pretty busy week in the fantasy world, so let's start with our headlines. There was a name change this week in the league. The team formerly known as the Legends are now known as DITR, but the meaning of the acronym is still unknown. In elderly news this week, the coach of Naneration pulled a Michael Jordan and retired Wednesday earlier this week, claiming the stress of the job was too much to handle. But she came out of retirement and was back at the bar playing again by Sunday.
I bet she was only there for the early bird special.
Yeah, that, and to brag about her players like they were her grandkids, I'm sure. There's also a correction in the league. In last week's broadcast, I said that Julia's boyfriend Rob drafted her team of Blast in a Glass, but I was informed that it was actually Rob's friends Seneca and OJ that did all the drafting.
Way to go, Seneca and OJ.
I was slightly confused on why the clarification was made because Julia still didn't do it.
I tried to have Milk help me in the draft once, and it shafted me. Maybe I'll try OJ next time.
Okay, well let's get to this week's action. The Convicts had the luckiest game of their life and beat the powerhouse team of De-La.
I cried myself to sleep when I saw that happened.
I threw my dog out of the car on the freeway in anger when I heard the news. Let's just go to the next game, I don't want to think about it. Oh, Fluffy. The Dopest were able to come out with a win over Naneration because of a 33-point game from Miles Austin of the Cowgirls.
It is because everything is bigger in Texas. Yeehaw.
Hopefully that goes for their mortality rate too, because I hate the Cowboys. So the Dopest are now 2-0 and still can technically call themselves the Dopest, even though we still know that's not true. In our game of the week, Doomsday Daddy defeats Blast in a Glass with 30-point performances from Jeremy Maclin and Matthew Stafford.
I think Julia was too drunk to even know she lost.
Yep, it's not really a loss if you're too hammered to realize it. The shameless plug of a team, BTMEforlife.com, improved to 1-1 with a win over the team formerly known as the Legends. I think the DITR might stand for Draft I Truly Regret.
Who do they think they are changing their name? Prince.
I know. I wonder if the team wears assless chaps too. The Marquette Squires are back to their winning ways with a mauling of Louis Pooey this week.
I bet that beating woke up Big Lou.
I bet it did, Roboto, like a nice slap to the inner knee. The Jets barely edge out fantasy football with the PH by 1.1 points after trailing the whole day. Fantasy football with the PH was on its way to an easy win when Michael Vick was roughed up in the third quarter like he was back on the prison yard. The Falcons were like, "You gon' eat your cornbread?" And he said, "No, you can have it." And then the Falcons were like, "You got a pretty mouth, Mike." And so he decided to leave the game and give the win to the Jets. After the game, the Eagles trainer declined to give a timetable for Michael Vick's return, saying it would be unfair to Michael, the coach, and the NFL to give a guess. Shortly after the Eagles trainer said this, Mario Martinez of Fantasy Football with a PH issued this statement. "See, F you, Burkholder. It might be fair to them, but it's not fair to my fantasy team." That's what I imagine Mario Martinez sounds like. I've never heard him speak, so I kind of just followed my heart and my totally racist schema.
I love that guy. He is the Rex Ryan of the fantasy world.
Preeminent moves to 2-0 with a close win over That's How I Sproles.
Why not That's How I.J. Cutler? It would make more sense.
You are right, it does.
I remember when I was in Robomentary I had to remember the preeminent to the Constitution. We the robots of Yokatashi Maru, in order to form more perfect logic, establish Boolean operators of and, or, and or.
You really should get a dictionary and look that word up. And now it's time to hand out some more hardware. The Family Matters Bad Coach of the Week goes to the coach of the Dopest for benching Denarius Moore, who scored 24 points, and starting Michael Crabtree, who didn't even play. Did I do that? But I can't really blame him. I don't ever expect any production out of a Raider player since Tim Brown left. For their great free agent pickup, the coach of the Marquette Squires win the Neil Patrick Harris Coach of the Week award. The Squires picked up Eric Decker of the Broncos last week, and he scored them 20 points this week. Do you have a map? Because I'm getting lost in your eyes. And finally, the Sandlot Team of the Week goes to the Marquette Squires for scoring 174 points this week, showing that the Squires are Benny the Jet Rodriguez, and the rest of the league plays ball like a girl. Forever. That's it for this week's edition of Fantasy Football. I'm Jamal 32.
And I am Mr. Robotone.
And may all your football fantasies come true.
Dude, I got checked like you said and I am positive for Salmonella and E. coli. It's from the baby diapers and the raw chicken juice. I'm dumping the trash compactor for sure now.